So, Jaws is out in IMAX for the first time ever in time for Labor Day weekend, and if you're wondering whether or not you should go see the greatest shark movie ever on the big screen, well, stay tuned. So let's get into it. Hello friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side, a place to live, talk, and buy movies. And real quick, if you guys have seen this movie before, which I imagine a lot of you have, go ahead and comment down below what your first time seeing this movie was, whether it be back in 1975 when it first came out, or maybe later on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, what have you. Let's just see where we all saw this incredible blockbuster for the first time. What else can be said about Steven Spielberg's Jaws that hasn't been said over and over for the past 47 years, but it is just a masterclass of blockbuster filmmaking before blockbuster filmmaking was truly a thing. It has this perfect blend of tension and suspense with blood and gore that doesn't ever really feel gratuitous, not to mention an incredible score by John Williams, as well as some revolutionary practical effects that made audiences afraid to go into the water, and was the first movie in history to make over $100 million at the box office. And much like Steven Spielberg's movie E.T., I of course have seen it many times in my life, but never got to see it on the big screen until about a day ago. And let me tell you, there was just something innately magical about getting to see this movie on an IMAX screen that of course covers the wall from top to bottom. Now of course there are going to be those skeptics out there that are going to be like, well, why would you pay money to see this movie when you could just watch it home for free? Well, first of all, how many times we gotta go through this, old man? And second of all, it's not just because it's a giant screen projecting the movie, there's also the crowd factor in there as well. Because of course there are plenty of movies, if not every movie in existence, that yeah, you can sit down in your living room, watch it, pause it, go to the bathroom, but there is just something very different about experiencing this movie in a theater, dimmed lights, uninterrupted, surrounded by people you don't know. Just to give you an example from my own experience seeing the movie last night, there were a group of teenagers, maybe like 3 or 4 behind me, their parents were there too, probably were, they probably took the kids to see it for the first time or whatever, and you could definitely feel the anxiety these teens were having while watching this movie, especially because, sometimes they kind of vocalize it, especially in those moments when people are like playing at the beach and you get those POV shots of the shark, swimming through the water, and then cut to later on when Roy Scheider's Hooper investigates the one boat, and then the one deceased head floats into frame, and that great jump scare. They all screamed when that happened, but it's not just the shock and terror of the film that gets really enhanced by watching it with other people, it's also the more humorous elements of this movie. I never really appreciated how funny this movie actually is, because a lot of times the humor is very subtle or dry, especially coming out of Chief Brody. They're just there at the right times that don't break up the tension or the suspense, but they are just in those nice sweet spots where it's like, yeah, maybe we can just let loose a little bit right before things ramp up again. I think everybody laughed the hardest, myself included, in the scene where Brody, Hooper, and Quinn are on the Orca. They get all drunk and they start comparing their scars with each other. In a way, getting to see this movie in IMAX in the year 2022 was almost like watching it for the first time in the theater back in 1975, where people were so terrified they ran out of the theater screaming. Nobody did that here, unfortunately. Much like getting to see E.T. in IMAX with all this, new detail and such, it really gives you the chance to appreciate the filmmaking that went into making Jaws, especially considering this is one of Steven Spielberg's first movies ever. His first feature film right before this one was Duel, about a killer truck, so of course, making a movie about a killer shark wasn't too much of a leap, but, there are so many classic Spielberg tropes that I think really were cemented with this movie, like so many long continuous takes. One that comes to mind immediately is the scene where the mayor drives onto the barge, then him and Brody have a conversation about closing the beach, and it's all just one continuous take as the barge goes from here to there, and somehow we made it this far without talking about the sound system, because of course we've got another iconic John Williams score with his classic Jaws theme that everybody knows regardless of whether or not they've seen the movie. Getting to hear that theme build up as the shark makes its first attack at the beginning of the movie was truly euphoric. Now, I'm sure a lot of you watching this video right now are probably curious as to whether or not this IMAX transfer of this movie makes a certain mechanical shark look a little fake. And to that, I say, no. I know it's been kind of a running joke for the past 40 plus years that the shark looks fake in this movie, but honestly, I never really thought the shark looked all that fake. The only thing that kind of makes it seem a little not real are the very obvious hinges around its jaws, no pun intended, and also just the fact that the shark actually looks that good, considering it's really the first time since, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea that someone attempted to create a giant animatronic sea creature like that. So really, it's just awe-inspiring to see this thing come to life on a giant screen. So overall, if you've seen Jaws before or you've never seen it at all, absolutely go check out this movie in IMAX. If you're seeing it for the first time, it's gonna be one hell of a way to experience everything surrounding this film, especially since the fact that it's been nearly 50 years and literally nobody has taken shark movies seriously since. And if you want to see what another classic Steven Spielberg movie was like in IMAX, I got a video for that right over here. Or if you want to see what YouTube recommends you watch me next, you can check out that video right down there. And of course, subscribe if you live talking by movies, and we'll see you on the Brockopp side.